Okay, this is for the paid memberships. I can't give out too many of my secrets for free. Let me see what we got going on here. Did it come up yet? Yeah, we got one. All right. So I know you're a subscriber to the channel. That's good. Okay, going to spend an hour on this, and I'll go over what I do here. Let me move this stuff. I'll be on after this movie, back with the cowl, uh, finishing it up. But here we got to go with this because my system is different on this airplane. Before I mount the bell crank, I have to notch the wing for the fuel tank compartment. So I need to do that to make sure that the bell crank clears that fuel tank compartment. So we need to measure that. And you'll get a lot of guys that say, you can't do that. Yeah, well, I've been doing it for years. It moves the center of gravity back because we're running big, heavy engines. You know, Super Tiger's 12 or 13 ounces. What do we have here? Hey, Armando. Glad to have you. I guess you're a subscriber. That's a good thing. So we need to measure this. And my system here, everything locks together. So let's see what we got here. It's at 0. Can't hardly read this stupid thing. I need to turn on those lights over here. It's 200. It's 2 inches, 535 thousandths. So we'll just say 2.5 and sand it from there. You followed the procedure on the cowl. That turned out pretty nice. It's basically perfect. I mean, some more sanding to go, but so the first thing I need to do is notch this wing. Oh, I forgot to measure the depth of it. So, it is. I have to turn on the light. 1 1/8 deep, 2.5 wide. So we're going to make it 1 3/8 deep by 2 9/16 wide. Okay. I think I'll be all right by looking at this, the way the bell crank's mounted. I probably can get away without doing that right now. get my little ruler here. Measure up here 2 inches and see where we're at. Oh yeah, I won't have any problem with this. So I'll just go ahead and mount the bell crank and I'll notch the wing later. You guys don't need to see that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the compression spar epoxied in there. I have that marked on the center line. I showed a little bit of theory on wing ribs, how to make your own wing rib templates using your shoe. I guess some guys have already done it. I've done it 1,000 times. Okay, we need the, and I absolutely hate working in this place. You can't, I have no room whatsoever to set anything. So let's get some epoxy mixed up. Have no room to work whatsoever. Let's move this out of the way. Wonder what the weight's going to come out on this airplane. Better be light. This compression spar glues to the 3/16 spars that run lengthwise, and this is what holds the wing together. So get plenty of glue on this. Not only does it hold the bell crank in, it's pretty much an integral part of the airplane. So we'll hold this in here until it dries. I can't see that over there. I'll get to it in a second here. I'm going to have to hold that, babysit this until I can flip it over, because I don't have any way to hold this. Oh, you like the rib method, huh? Trust me, it's within a pencil mark of any CAD program or whatever. You don't need no stinking computer. I'm going to have to hold this 5 minutes, or at least till it's. And then, of course, once I get it in there, I'll come back and I'll get a brush and smooth some epoxy. This right here has to be epoxied in really well. But I wanted to get the controls in this to show you. Now, my next paid video for the subscribers may be sooner than Saturday, because I'm gonna stick with this control system all the way through on the paid subscriber end. That way you guys can see how I put the controls in, make sure everything's parallel. The bell crank's at an angle and it keeps everything pushing straight. I built a crossfire and sold it to Jerry, and he sold it to another guy who ended up crashing it at the Nats, and they were doing a post-mortem on why he crashed. Well, he crashed because he wiggled the handle wrong. But he said, "Oh, the bell crank's in crooked. That must be it." No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. Suppose I could have taped this. I need to finish up this other landing gear block. I got it made, I just haven't got it glued in. I think that's getting pretty close. I can flip it over. You'll notice how this wing is all sparse. It's at the bare minimum of wood in the thing. I'm using 3/32 sheeting and 16th inch ribs. The spars 3/16 and the cap strips are 3/16 wide. And the trailing edge sheeting is 3/4 with a 1/4 inch cap for a 1 inch total. You don't need any more than that. Let's see, somebody said something. Is it possible? Can you explain? Let's see. I will explain it. Let me get over here and read it. If possible, can you explain how to mark position of your spar on the tip ribs? Sure. You know, if you'll notice here, let me see if I can explain this. If I mark this 4 inches wide all the way out to the tip so that the spar was angling back, would be angling back 4 inches all the way. Not only would it look funny, but there would be a lot of extra wood out here at the tips that you don't want. You want to keep, it's kind of like unsprung weight in a racing motorcycles. You don't want the wheels to be heavy. Well, you don't want the tips to be heavy. You don't want any weight out here away from the center of gravity. Center of gravity is here. You want to keep the extremities light. So if I made the sheeting all the way out to the end 4 inches wide, there'd be 1.5 inches of wood out there. So instead, I made it 2 3/4 to cut away all that wood. That's how you build light airplanes. So you measure back 2 3/4, make a mark, put your spar, which should be about the high point of the wing, at the tip, because the tip was cut off the trailing edge. If that makes sense. I showed you that, like when you lay out a I-beam wing, you place the leading edge and then cut the tip, the trailing edge off at the trailing edge of the rib off at the trailing edge of the wing. And that's basically how the tip rib's done. And that gives you a constant flow airfoil. Okay, we got that one in. You remember I didn't want to do that. I need to get the Dremel in here. Need to pull this out. Get the Dremel in here and dig out a little bit more of this stuff here. If I remember right, the swing of this bell crank wasn't quite enough to my liking. I had an extension cord here. Where did it go? I know I brought it home. Oh well, I'll just plug it into that cord, I guess. Now the shear web in the center here prevents the bell crank from rotating in the down position. So I've excavated it some, but I want to excavate it a little more. Let me take this off. You want a full range of travel in both directions of the bell crank. If you're going to do a trick like that, be very careful not to touch the lead outs. If you put one scratch with a Dremel on these lead outs, your airplane could crash. Okay, here's what it looks like inside. We have fuel tubing and eyelets spacing the bell crank so it can't move up and down. If you followed the first video, you'll know that I leaned the bell crank back 1/8 of an inch. That gives a few degrees. We want to make sure that it's in perpendicular, and you also want to check the movement. Okay, I have to excavate the top of the spar there. It hits on top of the spar. Let's see here. Now there it is. Now this is probably the most important thing you can do right here is get your controls right. You want a competitive airplane. So I'm going to take the knife. There's a piece of glue hanging down there on the separate ribs, and I'm going to excavate that. And I'm also going to cut back this brace here that I put on it. Like I say, take special care in your bell crank install. It's the heart of your airplane. Oh, I know what I could do to get that out of there. I could take this wire out. Nah. We'll just go with it like it is. Okay. Goes all the way to the stop. Well, I need to try it before I glue it in there, because if I glue it in there, it's in there for good. So We're going to get a range of motion here and see what it does. It moves. Yeah, you'd never move your hand that much. That would be way back here like this. So that would be up. And that moves, we're doing a 15/16. Let's see, it moves about 30 degrees and about, yeah, that should be plenty. Yeah, we'll get that in there and open that up a little more. That is the only bad thing with these big bell cranks. Not a whole lot of room. Okay, I know that's good enough. And if not, I don't know what to tell you. I just noticed something. Now, let's see here. Okay, let's go ahead and put it together. I'm gonna get the acid brush out this time so I can paint it in down there. That's the acid brush. Gotta love Harbor Freight. Schaefer's Hobby, these used to be like 5 cents a piece. Now they're like a quarter a piece. But you go to Harbor Freight, you get a whole bag of them for $1 something. It ain't like it's a camel hair paintbrush. I don't know what the hell they're seeing in that. Okay. Top goes on like that. Did that answer your question on the sheeting or spar location on the tip rib? And I'll come back and put a little more in there on the other side. Yeah, I just noticed that. That's a bummer. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I better get a paper towel and wipe that epoxy off. That would be hard to finish out on the top of the wing. Oh boy. Sorry about the babysitting, but that's part of the way I build. You know, I don't have clamps that are specially clamps to hold this, so I got to do this. Now I've explained the bearing surfaces on these. I need to make up a couple of hinges to get this in, and we'll get the push rod cut and the ball link on it tonight, and that'll probably wrap it up for this segment of control systems. But as I stated, I will probably come back again. So you might get 2 videos this month on the paid side. 2 videos this week, I mean, on the paid side, because I want to get this done. I want to have 2 weeks. I want to have this airplane together and started finishing it up. So I need to get this done, get it Japanese tissued, get it back over to John's on the big table, and we'll do a layout video. I'll do a paid stream on layout. And the paid side went gangbusters the first month. They got 10. I'd like to see 10 more. I'd like to get 10 people every month to come in on the paid side. That'll make it worth my while to keep doing these videos. So if you know somebody that hasn't been a paid member, see if we can talk to them and convince them to become a paid member. These videos take up a lot of time. And heck, I'd like to see Stunt Hangar get bigger and bigger. I've offered, I should do that on a public video, but I've offered to buy up Stuka Stunt, Brotherhood of the Ring, or whatever it's going to take to get all that information moved over to Stunt Hangar so that we don't lose it for posterity. I also need to set up some type of board of directors so in case something happens to me, you know, the Stunt Hangar will continue on, because that would be a disaster. Right now, nobody knows anything. Nobody could unlock Stunt Hangar at all. Nobody knows anything of what's going on. Okay, let's see how we did. So we'll run this through a full line of movement. We got plenty. I need to set up some bushings for the elevator horn. I need to get a ball link attached to this. Do I want to go on the outside or the inside? Outside of the ball link. outside of that, so it's not going to stay on there, so I don't need a nut or anything. Just need a screw. So we're going to put that's a big lunker. I'll put one of these small ones on it. This is just mock-up here. You know, I got to get the push rod cut the length. And get the JB weld setting up. I'll show you how to do the push rod ends so they don't break either. So you want this bell crank leaning forward, and you want it leaning forward so that this first hole right here is 90 degrees above the center wire. So I got to get the horns or the bushings for it. Now because I'm using my hinging system, they all have to be in these hinges. So I've got some 8-inch brads that I just dropped on the floor. Yeah, disappeared. There we go. Now I'll peen those over, but I won't do that tonight. And I got to take 2 hinges. 1, 2. And we're not going to worry about the hinges on the flaps as of yet. I'm just trying to get the push rod geometry set up. So we need the drill. And we'll drill these out 1/8 inch first and then open it up to that's 8. We'll go up a size in a bit so that the hinge fits. The beauty of my hinging system is that the horn and the hinges stay all on the same plane. Thus making a super free control system. Otherwise, even one of those stupid Dubro centering gauges, it's a problem. I don't have a hammer here, so I can't hammer that in there. Why don't I have a hammer here? I can't even get it in there. Maybe I gotta go one size bigger. Doesn't matter. If it comes out too loose, I'll redo them. They're only a couple of cents a piece. All right, so now the bearing goes in the hinge, maybe. Come on, dude. There it is. Bearing goes in the hinge. I will peen that over at work with a drift that I had made up and a hammer. I don't have a hammer here, so it can't come out. The tool I made is an acorn nut off a Harley Davidson Softail headlight. I wonder if I could do it in a vise. If I can find the tool. Nope, don't have the tool handy. It's around here somewhere, I know. I don't see it in there. At least there's the flaring tool for the hinges. Okay, we'll worry about that later. Anyway, so the horn fits into the hinge like this. I've already put blocks in this wing in certain locations, and I've marked them with little drill holes here. There. These are for the horn hinges, and these are for the flap hinges. And inside that trailing edge is an extra block of wood because our hinges are glued in with white glue or epoxy. I'll take a finger drill if I can find one of those. Yeah. And drill right here. Try to keep that 90 degrees to the trailing edge. But all this stuff, if you keep it all straight, it's a slick setup. Then I use a spare hinge as a broach. We're going to broach that round hole square just by force. If you let's see, I need the 80 grit. Yep. You take a hinge, square hinge, and you just put an angle on the end of it. I don't know how many guys have done machining at all, but when you machine a round hole square, it's called broaching, and you just cut an angle in that thing in the hinge like that with a piece of sandpaper, and then force it in that hole. It broaches that round hole square. Okay, we have 2 square holes in the trailing edge now. We can install the flap horn. Now sometimes I try to make these come out exactly on the fuselage side so you get a nice little button, which I may or may not do, but I'm going to do it a little different. So there's the horn installed. None of that Mickey Mouse brass plate crap. Make sure it's parallel with the trailing edge, or damn close. And I like to have my horn right on the center line. You can do it any way you like. So then we're going to take the push rod that I've already made up, except I haven't wrapped it with Kevlar thread. We'll do that, and I'll show that in this sequence. But right now we're going to make up the push rod so we don't need to wrap it. I better mark this. And if I can find a felt tip pen. Yep, there's one. Mark it about halfway and don't screw the threads any farther than that mark. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll run that thread in until it touches the ball, and that pushes the ball up against the other side, and it stiffens up the control horn or the ball link. That's plenty. Okay, so you want this at 50%. You want that right straight. And we have a horn. I should have put this this horn on the or this ball link on the horn. So I need to put this together. Okay. We'll mark this one halfway. And halfway gives you enough. If you've done your job right, there's virtually very little adjustment on these. I never adjust them. I do all adjustment in when I make this push rod, so we're not fiddle farting around with goofy controls. I even adjust my neutral in the build section so that I don't have to do any horn bending or anything like that. Now, Tom Morris had a chart of how long to make these, but I can't never remember it, so I've just been doing it like this for so long. This way you don't even have to think. You don't have to get a tape measure out or nothing. Just whack it off and go. Okay, so I need to change this one out here. Okay, top hole. Don't make a mistake and put it in the second hole. You'll have shit for controls. Can't get the damn thing started. Okay. Now let me get the camera down here close so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. A lot of guys put the push rod, the horn in like that. Can you guys see the angle of that horn? It's no good. It's too far back. Your controls, the airplane will act really strange if you do that. So you need to angle this forward Let me get the square here. Hold it up. I guess you could put some tape on it. I need to get you a good video of what that is supposed to look like. Goes right there. Okay, can we see that? Let me look here. I make those hinges, Arnaldo. If you go to a Stunt Hangar vendor section, get a hold of the guy at Southbridge CNC. He'll cut you up about 10 million of them for about 30 bucks. He has my permission to sell my hinges. So nothing special. So we want the belt crank zeroed, meaning that the pivot point is at 50%. It's at 50%, right straight across from the pivot point. We want this horn right here, that the first hole is directly over the top of the wire, so that this horn is actually leaning forward. It doesn't look like it, but it is. So we're going to tape that there. I'm going to mark my push rod. Better get a piece of tape. This setup right here is so important for a good flying airplane. So that square, need to cut it off right there. Okay, so now I need my cutoff wheel. Yeah. Okay, where'd the cutoff wheel go? Gotta be right here somewhere. Never can find anything when I need it. Yep, there it is. Okay. Motor tool or Dremel. We'll whack that off there. Now, if we did this right, when we test this, it should go through the full swing. And if it does, then I'll glue it together. I need to grind the burr off the end of that. What dropped here? Cap. Cap to the epoxy. Okay. Why is that being a pain in the butt? Well, tomorrow I get my shipment from Micro Fasteners so I can put my tail wheel in. Stupid thing. This one don't want to go in. There it is. Guess I could drill it out a little bit. Gotta have enough room for JB Weld anyway. Get a drill bit. Yeah. Thing's fighting me the whole way. That's too much. And we'll just grind it out a little bit. Okay. There we go. Except I put it on backwards. Okay. Okay, that's up. Oh. It's too long. Better too long than too good, or too short. Should be right there. Yeah, I guess maybe not. That's full up, full down. Yeah, I guess it's the right length. I'll have to see when I get them bent. Seems about right. Anyway, we got any questions thus far? Try to keep the push rods running in a straight line, meaning we've angled the bell crank so that it's parallel to the push rod, not parallel, but close. We have the push rod at an angle that's coming away from the pivot at 90 degrees. Not perfect, but close. We want the push rod to come right straight off of this back to the elevator to be straight. May not be perfect, but close. And the closer you can make them, the easier the controls will work. One thing I don't like is that stop right there. I'm going to have to excavate some more wood out of there. I don't think I'd ever move my hand that much. Let's see. It's a long ways. I don't know. I have to think about this a little bit. I think I've made that too long. Matter of fact, I know I have. I'm looking at this in the and this hole here is not directly straight up above that, so I need to cut. We'll try 1/8 of an inch first off the end of this push rod. If I can get it apart without breaking something. Okay, so now oh man. I will monkey with this until it's perfect. Otherwise, you put your airplane together, and if this is wrong, it won't fly worth a darn. Okay, let's see if that was enough. If not, I can cut it a little more. Okay, that's straight over the target there. Yep, that's straight over the target. How's it look? The bell crank look inside. That's leading a little bit. So if I hold it in, that would make getting quite a bit of movement. Yep, I think that's it right there. I'm not going to glue it all together because I'll have to think on it. I'll step back for an hour or so and think about it. I got to make sure this is correct, because if it's not, the airplane's junk. It's hitting on the rib right here. Cut that out. There we go. Yeah, there we go. What is it on now? On that rib still. There it is. There it is. Oh, broke the rib. Oh well. Glue it back on. It's only wood. There it is. Okay, we got a full swing now. Much better. Okay, we'll glue this rib back together. Somebody needs to figure out a glue bottle that doesn't plug up. Okay. I could take the Dremel tool and clean that slot up a little bit, make it look nice in there, but nobody will see it. I mean, except me. Okay, that's on the stop there. What's it stopping on? Stopping on the other side. That's full up. So it's stopping on that rib there. And it's going all the way center post there. So I could cut a little bit of this side off too. But this is correct now. So I hope you got something out of that bell crank install. Yeah. Hour and 2 minutes. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for becoming a paid subscriber. There'll be more tips and tricks coming in. I can't believe we got 14 in here. I must not have said it right. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.